Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Inga Cotton. I'm the founder and executive director of San Antonio Charter Moms, and these are Charter Moms Chats, and it is enrollment season. So this is the time for families to be researching what schools they want to enroll their kids in, and this is the best time to apply for what schools you want your kids to go to in the 2023-24 school year, which still sounds weird to say, but that's coming. It's just around the corner. It is December 1st, and we are talking with Compass Rose Public Schools today, and I'm really excited to have this panel because they'll be able to talk about lots of different aspects of Compass Rose, like why each unique campus has a special focus and how the enrollment process works, what the school culture is like, how they take care of students' social emotional learning and equity. So let me introduce our group here. Ryane Burke is the Chief Schools Officer of Compass Rose Public Schools. So welcome back, Ryane. She's a veteran of Charter Moms Chats. And then we also have Jaime Mora, and I've known Jaime in real life, but not online yet because he comes to our School Discovery Day events. But Jaime is the Director of Student Recruitment and Enrollment for Compass Rose Public Schools. And then we also have, for the first time, Hada Flores, and she's the Vice President of Academics at Compass Rose Public Schools. So welcome, Hada.
Thank you.
And also Tina DeValk, and she is the principal of Compass Rose Legacy Middle School, which is on the south side of San Antonio. So welcome, Tina. So I'm really grateful for y'all's time and be able to talk about all different aspects of Compass Rose Public Schools. So let me send the first question to Ryane. And for maybe people who aren't familiar with Compass Rose, can you talk about like big picture, like the mission and vision of Compass Rose Public Schools?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Inga, for having us here today. We're super excited to talk with you. At Compass Rose, we know that every student comes to us with a endless potential, right? Like every student comes to us with a story. Everyone comes to us with a background, an academic story, a social story, a family story, right? And it is really on us to partner with a student and family so that the student is on the path toward their dreams, right? On the path to their true north, to really maximizing that potential that we know they come to us with, right? So we cultivate, right, what comes with the students that walk through our doors, and make sure that every student is really reaching that maximum potential and capitalizing on the gifts that they bring to us. So we work really hard to create strong academic cultures in our classrooms, strong cultures of belonging across our schools, so that every student is really experiencing a sense of welcome, right? A sense of their unique self is seen and appreciated on our campuses, and they can really grow into the very best human that they can be as part of one of our schools. And while each of our schools is a little bit different, right, and reflective of the leader of the school in some ways, and reflective of the field of study of our particular campus, all of our schools are united in sort of this one mission and vision to make sure that every student is on their path to pursue their true north, grounded in common values, grounded in sort of a common community of family that happens at each of our campuses. And so while unique, all of our campuses are really tied together by some of those common characteristics.
And the fun part about doing talking to school leaders and folks in the afternoon is that there's usually like bells and dismissal and stuff like that happening. So, so thank you for joining us, Ryan, and thank you for laying out big picture. So, Jaime, did you want to chime in, because I know you do a lot of like talking to families about what Compass Rose is all about.
Yes, essentially, to piggyback off of Ryan, it's essentially allowing our students to find themselves in their true north, right? It doesn't happen in one day or 1 week or 1 month, right? But we understand that through maturation and through learning and growing, we allow students to find themselves, and not only what they want to do this year, but what they want to do in the period of their educational journey and after that. So essentially, we meet our students where they are, we find their strengths, we see how they can improve, and through that, we build a journey for them to get not only where they want to be, but where their family wants them to be. And essentially, that's what we're here to do, is to provide some insight to what they're strong at, and then to build upon that. And that's our job each and every day.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, well, so the next question is focusing more on academics. So we're going to send that to Ada. one thing I've observed about Compass Rose from visiting campuses is that there's a lot of focus on those core areas like reading and writing and math. And so I'm wondering if you could share, like, what are the teachers doing to make sure that students are achieving academic growth in those areas?
Awesome. I think one of the main things we've done is we've adopted curriculum that is very rigorous. We want to make sure that we are challenging our students in a healthy and powerful way to like engage in their learning, and we want them to grapple with the material, make mistakes. That's part of learning, and fostering that sense of like learning and discussing and learning from others. So one thing that we strive to do too is like honoring the relationships we have this with students, create a safe space, but create those spaces also for learning, so they can ask questions with one another, really engage and ask those like probing questions from each other, because we all own the learning, including our students. So that's really, really powerful. Our teachers do a lot of work. They really truly try to internalize the curriculum, really understanding like where could my students have like some difficulties, really plan ahead of that. So that's been a lot of the work we've been doing with the school leaders and assistant principals, like really working as a team to ensure that our teachers are like learning the content, asking those questions, so we are best prepared for our students every day. Another thing we do for academic progress is like making sure that we also support in our teachers on data analysis, like about like from the network, from the side, from like school level. We're looking at data, we're seeing how our students are doing and progressing, and making strategic decisions about that, which is what we want. It's like we want to like pivot with those strengths and make sure we leverage those, but we also want to see like where's our students are at and really address them. And that's one thing I really appreciate from the instructional side about the work that we do at Compass Rose, is that we really try to meet the academic needs of all of our learners, and like there's a genuine like love of doing that, and it's like a really truly part of our mission and commitment. And one aspect of our work too that we work with is like special education, which we also offer like a PACE program for like our low incidence students. And we also like making sure that those classrooms also have strong instruction, so our students can progress academically. And next year we're launching like our 18 plus program for our students, so that they're able to like think about like how they apply their education to post-secondary goals. And so I think there's like a truly a commitment and not afraid to do what's next, to really push our students in their academic journey and instruction. So there's a lot of great stuff, and truly committed staff and students, and really inspiring to make sure that they're like have a joy of learning and excitement for what they do in the classrooms.
Yeah. Wow. Ada, that's really helpful. Like it's I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that later, because like you touched on a lot of really important concepts, like having high rigorous academics, right? Have high standards, but like also be like collecting the data and making sure there's relationships with the students, so that like the teachers are helping them along the way, and making sure that it's a school for everyone, that the special ed students, or the students who had a learning loss, like they're not left behind, like they're getting the support they need too. So that's really important. I think that's the kind of thing we're hearing from parents, is that they want a school that's a supportive environment, and where their student can feel like they belong and they're included, and they're not made to feel different, that they get the help they need. So okay, well, I want to ask Tina next. So Ada talked about like the academic side, and that's really important, but she touched on the fact that like students need to feel they belong, and they need to be in an emotional place where they're ready to learn. So Tina, can you talk more about the social emotional support for students, and like how to make sure that through being aware of equity, that students feel like they belong?
Absolutely. So we understand that children come to us with so many different life experiences. It's our job to provide the conditions in which every student can truly thrive. This looks like establishing wellness and wraparound services that are unique and personalized to each individual student. We both build social emotional skill, and we build community-based skills and mutual support. First thing in the morning, we meet for connections class, and that's basically it's a microcosm of our community that is representative of our larger school community. And we make connections to each other, to the community, and to the world around us through our second step curriculum. We hold like whole groupist discussions around coping skills for anger, how to adapt and manage within a highly emotional situation. and we support one another first thing in the morning. So the actual connections teachers get a chance to check in with kids to make sure they're okay and they're feeling okay. And if they're a little off, we have to make sure that they're okay here and here before we send them into an academic setting. And in that same vein, we know that our children come to us with gifts around their personal experiences, like culture, racial background, and all other aspects of their identity. We create spaces where there is a shared understanding of each other's strengths and needs. And we honor the things that are important to other members of our community. We really, really, really love, respect, and cherish the times when we share both from our culture and our own backgrounds within these connections. And it doesn't just happen right during connection classes. It happens throughout the day in every class and in every space, lunch, PE, you name it, right? Rival dismissal. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. And kudos for like handling. It looked like someone was trying to interrupt you.
One of my students, they like to come say goodbye in the end of the day. I'm like, go, baby, go. He's like, just for a little bit. I said, no.
Oh, that's sweet. That's like sometimes my kids photobomb me, like especially during like at home learning. My kids would photobomb, and I'd be trying to do an interview.
Thanks for understanding, Inga. I was like,
oh
my God.
yeah. No, I'm just really. I know y'all are so busy. Like I'm really honored to have this much input and time. But I appreciate it because it puts it out there, and then families are curious about so many different schools, but it's hard to get out and visit. It's hard to make time, in the evening, like to go to info night or things like that. So, this really, collectively, like, people can be much more aware of just how much variety there is across, all the schools we have in San Antonio. So, which actually that leads to my next question. So, Ryane, I want to ask you more about there's a special academic interest at each campus, and I was wondering if you could and there's more about this in the blog post on sachartermoms.com, but and it's on the Compass Rose website. But if you could just describe what's the unique focus for each of the campuses in the San Antonio area?
Sure, I'll try to be brief. We could talk about this all day. It's a really exciting part of the Compass Rose way, right? Each of our campuses has this unique field of study where there's an integration. It may be through the inclusion of a particular curriculum or involvement through a class period of the day, but really it should sort of pervade a student's experience as part of that campus, right? And so at our Journey campus, which is located in Windcrest, we have a focus on public health through nature-based learning. And there we have a specific public health curriculum that students engage in more in our older grades, and in our younger grades, students are engaging in a nature-based approach. So we have an outdoor learning garden, students do class outside sometimes, right? And then there's place-based opportunities where students are actually engaging in the local community and able to partner with folks in the local community to really learn about the place in which they learn, right? And then at our Dream campus, which is our one of our newest campuses that we launched this past year, the focus is on medical professions. And it's very exciting to see. We had an experience just this past week where medical students from UIW were able to come and do rotations of nutrition learning and nutrition classes. And we had about 20 medical students on site at our very small Dream location. And they were able to really engage with students and continue to build that excitement around the different ways that I, as a second grader, can one day engage in this kind of career, right? And follow this kind of pathway. So kiddos were very excited about that. And at our Ingenuity campus located in the Port San Antonio area, we have a focus on aviation and STEM. And so we have a lot of partnerships in the area. Of course, we have the Port Tech Arena, which is right next door to us, which is a really exciting partner for us. And just lots of amazing aviation and STEM partners, of course, in the Port SA region. And we have lots of good partnerships where students are able to engage. We have partners that come in and actually teach classes and teach different STEM and engineering classes for us. So lots of exciting stuff that happens there. And then at our Legacy campus, and Tina can also shed a little bit more light on this with her experience as the middle school principal, we have a focus on entrepreneurship. So Tina, I'll turn it to you to share some examples of how that comes to life there.
Yeah, thank you. It is the cutest thing, I'll tell you. So what our kids get to do is they actually go to an entrepreneurship class every day. That is their elective. They go through the whole process of developing and delving into the process around creating a business model. And then they have to like figure out ways to market it, right? How to actually build the product or create the product, and then how to actually go out there and sell it. And the most beautiful part of it is when they all come back together and they do peer groupings around, like this is peer feedback for you, this is peer feedback for you. So when they go to the next project, they're better informed and they know what they did not so well the first time, and then they integrate it into the second project. And so they just get better and better at like creating and business models by the end of 8th grade, just like, oh, I can do that. And so like kind of our motto is, you know, if you've thought about something that should be created and you're kind of waiting for it, don't do it in class, you know, and Ms. DeValk will give you the funds if you need them. What do you need? What do you need?
Love that. Love that, Tina. And then our newest campus that we'll be launching it for this upcoming school year, 23-24, is Compass Rose Impact, which is for us a very different kind of campus, but extremely exciting. Compass Rose Impact is going to be sort of a dual approach. One aspect of the school will be a restoration space for sort of behavioral restoration, right? Students who may have engaged in a code of conduct violation at one of our Compass Rose campuses and need to sort of reintegrate into the community. And so may need to meet specific goals, et cetera, and then be able to return back to their home campus. And the other aspect of our Impact Campus will be what we're calling the acceleration component, which is mostly geared toward grades 9 through 12, overaged and undercredited students. So students who are really needing to catch up on credit recovery in order to be able to get back on track to graduate. So again, something different, something totally new. It's a school we'll be launching next year, but I think one of a few of its kind. So we're very, very excited and eager to get this school off the ground.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Ryane, for the overview. And then I'm going to put the website up on the screen. So Compass Rose Public Schools, like all spelled out. That's a great place to find out about, dig deeper into what these different focus or fields of study are at the campuses. And Ryane didn't mention it because I didn't really give her time, but like there are 2 campuses in the Austin area, right? So Ryane, you're up in Bastrop right now, and there's also a campus in Manor. So folks in the Austin area can also be researching Compass Rose Public Schools. So, but we are at SA Toronto, we focus on the San Antonio area schools. I just want to put that out there in case anyone's got like friends or family in Austin, they're curious about Compass Rose. That's an option up there as well. So, I guess like the next thing I want to ask, and I'm going to open this up to everybody, but I guess maybe Tina, you could start since you've got you're on campus at Legacy, but just like stories that demonstrate the school culture at Compass Rose, because I mean, there's nothing like actually getting to go on campus and see it, but I feel like stories are so important for sharing, like what a school culture is about. So, Tina, if you can lead off with stories about school culture at your campus, Compass Rose Legacy.
Absolutely, thank you. So going back to what Ryane mentioned earlier, that we collectively truly are united in this belief that we believe that children all carry individual potential, and what that potential looks like is very different, and it's up to us, right, to make sure that we provide an environment again where they can thrive, right, and really become the best versions of themselves. And so I met, this is just one anecdote, I met a mom and this young lady, 8th grader, came in this summer. It was before school started. And mom was like, I'm really frustrated. She's not met her potential at any other schools. And she doesn't believe, I think, in her own self that she has potential. And sometimes as a school leader, you have to like balance the warm and the demanding, right? And so we had a conversation. I sat down with her and I said, baby girl, I know you have a lot of potential. I see your grades. I see you're very articulate. You're obviously a very intelligible young lady. And so I told her, I said, if you trust me and we trust one another, we can figure out how to get you to become the best version of yourself, one step at a time. I'm not going to expect you to do it overnight, but I'm going to expect you to trust me, and I'm going to trust you. And so she signed the paperwork, mom signed the paperwork to have her come here. First thing that morning, she came and got off the bus, and she was nervous. And we had a call, nice conversation, went to class. And, Inga, it doesn't happen like that this quickly, like it has with this young lady. Oh my gosh, she's on the volleyball team. She's a cheerleader now. And I realized that those are different levels of potential and success. But for her, that's huge. And so I celebrate the big ones. I celebrate the small successes with every child because I know what they need and what they want. I know their individual stories. And so, yeah, I'm really proud of her. And I tell her daily, what you're going to do today. What you're going to do today, I'm going to have to celebrate you tomorrow. So it's kind of this back and forth thing now. So yeah, that's one of my greatest fulfillment moments this year.
Well, I appreciate that story. I have a middle schooler myself, and I know from talking to other families of middle schoolers that getting disengaged was a big challenge. Especially this distance learning was such a different environment, and as adults, we thought the pandemic was weird, but for kids, that loomed very large in their life. And I asked my daughter about things like, oh, do you remember before the pandemic we did such and such? She's like, I don't remember. That was too long ago. And I'm like, that's right. She was really little when we did that. So they have so much of the world that they need to rebuild. And so if they can come to a school environment and know that there's folks like you who are with gentleness and kindness, but you are going to have high expectations for them, and ask for more, and then they can be proud of all the hills that they've climbed. So, okay, well, who else wants to? Ryane, do you have some stories you want to share?
I have a lot,
stories?
but I'll jump in with just one. I hopefully we have a lot, right? I think that's great. I can think one that lives with me because it's a very recent one. We had a student at one of our campuses who made a pretty significant mistake, right? And we know that our kids and adults make mistakes, right? All of us do. All of us mess up sometimes. And this particular student had made a pretty big mistake to the point where we were going to engage with the family, right? And talk about next steps and consequences and all sorts of things. And I sat in the conversation, and it became this moment of really breaking down walls and really understanding why the student had made the choice that they made. And I remember myself and the principal sitting side by side and looking the student in the eye and saying, you're not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. Stop trying, right? You're not going anywhere. And the student just kind of broke in tears, right? And was like,
wow.
Oh my gosh, right? And then family member who was in the room was like, I knew there had to be a school that was going to say that, right? I knew there had to be a school that was going to finally say, you're here, you're ours, you're staying with us. We're not pushing you out, right? We are the stopping point for you. And it's one of quite possibly my favorite things about being part of Compass Rose is that we really believe that we know every student, right, can be successful within our walls. And it takes us doing something different, right? It takes us making different decisions, having a sense of belief, right? Breaking down those walls sometimes, and knowing that mistakes are part of the journey. They really are. And they are for all of us. So we have to recognize that they are for our kids as well.
Yeah. Wow. That's a really powerful story. Yeah. Yeah. I've experienced this. I mean, it happens at different ages, but I think anytime a child or an adult or a teenager feels like that they're in front of a bunch of people who've already made up their minds and don't believe in them and have low expectations, that's devastating. And I mean, I worked very hard to keep my son out of environments like that because I have a um, Ada mentioned how important the special education is, right? I have a child with special needs, so I've always made sure he's in a setting where people had high expectations for him, believed he was capable of that. And Compass Rose serves all kinds of students, students from all kinds of backgrounds. And in San Antonio, there's such a history of socioeconomic segregation. And students from some backgrounds, people having low expectations. And so that's such a special thing about Compass Rose to have high expectations for every student. And Ryane, like you said, you just recognizing that people do make mistakes, and you want to know that you want them to feel like Compass Rose is where they can stay and they can try again and they can reintegrate to the community. Yeah, wow. Jaime, do you want to, can I tap you next? You've got a story to share about school culture?
Sure. So when I first joined Compass Rose, I joined as a culture leader. So celebration of success, accountability went hand in hand. We had one particular student who um, made made the wrong choice on a daily basis, but I always knew there was something behind it because at the end of the day, he just wanted to talk. He just wanted to have time to just have a conversation with somebody that was gonna give him the opportunity just to be heard. And through that, I was able to build a relationship with him that went further than just hey, let me take you out of class because you're being disruptive. But it was just more of like, hey, what's going on? How was your night? Did you have everything that you needed? And through that, he developed a trust and a relationship with Compass Rose, not only with myself, but with others, with other teachers, with the principal. And he knew that each and every day he could show up and make mistakes, but we were going to be there to hold him accountable. And it wasn't through sending him home, or it wasn't through you're going to be an ISS. It was through a reflection. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. There's a deeper reason why you're making these choices. And us being there and being able to just sometimes be a sounding board for him, and just, I mean, not really having to say anything back, but just having an opportunity for him to just sit there and just let it all out. And this is something, and I still see him because although I'm not in the school setting every single day, or at the same school, rather, when I do see him, he sees me and he's like, I still remember being in your office. I still remember having those conversations with you. And I'm like, I do too. And look at where you are now. So it doesn't stop. Keep going. And that's really what I take pride in.
Yeah, wow, that's beautiful. There's common threads in Tina's and Ryan's and Jaime's stories, and that lends validity that this isn't an isolated instance. That this is happening on campuses across Compass Rose, and there are lots of caring people at Compass Rose who want to give students a chance to speak and share what's happening with them and reflect on that, and then that's what's going to help them to make real change. Because I mean, we all know change is hard. Like I'm trying to change some bad habits and like procrastinating, and it's hard to change. And um, having a sounding board, like, and be able to like say, well, I'll do better tomorrow. Like that's how things really, that's how you really make a difference. So well, great. Well, thank you for sharing the stories about school culture. Ada, did you want to chime in? Or I know you're relatively new at Compass Rose. Did you want to?
Yeah, I can I particularly like work very closely with also like with our PACE classrooms. And so I got the opportunity to call a parent, and I was just doing like a check-in on something, and they talked about their student, and thinking about the high expectations and how that looks like for like students who are particularly like low incidence classrooms. Like we were just talking, she was the mom was just telling me all the great things that she found at Compass Rose, similar things to what everyone was talking about, like the relationships, but also the amount of like academic growth that she had done. So like she, if you go in the classroom, like she is the one talking and discussing and asking questions about what she's learning. And and she's like, she goes home and she just wants to come back and learn the next day, and truly become like a leader in that classroom. But I just like gushing to her and glowing about like all the great things that she's done. And I think that's like, she was very appreciative of the environment that we provided, but that from the, but also from the academic lens, where they're saying like, I've seen her grow academically, and that has always been great. And that, like, you mentioned earlier, like having those high expectations looks like we have them across the board. And but just to hear from the parent and be very excited and proud at the same time, we're both proud at the same time. So it was just like became like I called it for like a 5-minute conversation, and we were talking about like 20 minutes about all the great things. And so it just shows that, with a lot of care, like in a lot of like dedication from all parts. And it is truly like a connection also with families. Like we get to know the student, but also the families, and in partnership, we create like the best possible spaces for our kids, because we're all own part of their education. So just enjoyed having that connection with the parent, but also like just hearing her gush about her kid and me as well. And I was like, yes. And so it was really awesome. So that's my story.
That's wonderful. Yeah. Well, I hope that the parents, who see the blog post, who visit y'all's website, who, tune into this conversation are getting curious and want to know more about Compass Rose. And so can y'all share, actually, let me send this to Jaime. He's the specialist on this, but like, so how can families find out more about Compass Rose, and how can they do their application during open enrollment? Because this is like the optimum time to do it.
Exactly. So open enrollment has begun. The easiest thing for you to do is just go to our website that is there on the screen. And you can apply from there. It'll take you to our SchoolMint platform. All you have to do is just submit some information about you and about your child, and this would be the easiest way for you to learn more about us. We are hosting principal chats monthly. So you will have access to these invitations for you to be able to gain an insight to not only what we're doing, what we plan to do next year, but what we're doing now. And it gives you a good idea of what your child is going to experience once they come to school with us here at Compass Rose. If you would like to talk to somebody, you could give us a call. I'm not sure if you have it, but it's at 210-850-2507. That somebody's on the line now. So if you want to talk to somebody now, just go ahead and give us a call, and we could help you out as soon as possible.
Okay. And
we also have our lottery on February the 3rd. So we need to get those applications in.
That's right. Yeah. And we talk about this all the time in the Charter Moms discussion group on Facebook. I'll put that up on the screen for folks. But so if you're wondering, well, what's the difference between open enrollment and getting waitlisted or things like that? Like, anyway, we can explain that, us moms and dads will explain that in the Charter Moms group. But yeah, your best chance, because charter schools have a limited number of spaces. So, to get your best chance, it's, apply during open enrollment. If you apply after the lottery, then you get added to the waiting list in the order that you apply. But if you apply before that, you're in the mix, like it's randomized across all those schools. So and folks, they can apply to multiple Compass Rose campuses, right?
Yeah, so depending on what their interest is, so if they live on the west side of San Antonio, but the public health is something that they want, their child and their children want to experience, then go ahead and apply to our Journey location. So, and vice versa. So if there's a special interest that you're looking for, then go ahead and apply to the Compass Rose school of your choice.
Yeah. And just as a plug for, we're having the next School Discovery Day is on January 21st. Compass Rose will be there, and that one's at the Doozium. And so you'll get a chance to talk to Compass Rose folks and get the application in before the open enrollment deadline. And it is during National School Choice Week, so that makes it even better.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, thank you all so much. This is like serious quality time to get this many experts on StreamYard at once. So, and I'm really proud to share the word about Compass Rose, because I really believe in what you guys are doing. You're really doing a great job taking care of kids, and having high expectations for all of them and giving everyone a chance to be their best.
Same to you, Inga. We appreciate it.
All right. Well, thanks so much.
Thank you, Inga.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Take care.